John Luss here of Luss Archery Adventures. Serious testing, successful hunting. Today I'm going to be testing another older broadhead that was originally marketed under the Mossy oak label, and it's called the Sudden Death. And thanks to a buddy, Lucas Harrison, who donated this pack of broadheads, thank you, Lucas, I'm able to put it to the test and just see how it performs. So I'm going to be using my regimen for 2024. And for a detailed description and understanding of that regimen, please check out the video that I posted earlier this year called 2024 Broadhead Test Process. And it'll really talk you through all the ins and outs of why I do the testing I do and how I do them and how I calculate the scoring and so forth. And so for most of the shooting in this test, I'm using my new Elite Era bow. And for the flight testing, I'm using my Killer Instinct SWAT X1 crossbow. For the arrows, I'm using Bishop FOC King arrows for most of the shooting. Bishop Fat Eliminators for the really hard impact stuff because they can handle it. And then the Bishop GOAT crossbow bolt. All right, let's zoom on in here and go through some of the design features and specifications of this Sudden Death and then put it to the test. Here's a good look at this head, and man, this is kind of an odd looking head, isn't it? It's got in some ways just a simple design of these three replaceable blades, but then it's got this really big, oversized chisel tip to it. Makes it kind of cool. So this is 100 grains. And the cutting diameter is 1 1/8 inches. These blades are stainless steel blades. They're 0.0325 inches thick. And they just lock into this aluminum ferrule underneath this tip. And this tip is a steel tip. And as you can see, I mean, it's really big. It's not super sharp, but sharp enough, and looks like it's going to do a good job splitting bone. You know, I found when there's a really big tip like this, sometimes it opens up a nice hole for the rest of the arrow shaft to glide through, and it helps in penetration. So we'll have to see if that's the case. One of the challenges with heads like this is oftentimes there's not enough material in the blade to go underneath that tip, and so at a hard impact, the blades can kind of come back a little bit, and then they can fall out. I don't know if that's going to be a problem in this head, but we're going to find out. Eager to put this head to the test. The Sudden Death got the 8 ring. It took 225 grams of force to cut through the wire, which is a 9.75 on a 10-point scale. Sorry, I'm cutting off the edge of the tape measure, but it penetrated right at 9 inches. It took an additional 125 grams of force to cut through the wire, which is a 7.5 on a 10-point scale. It penetrated through 61 layers. The head is in perfect condition after the 3 shots through the MDF. And here it is after the 2 shots through the steel plate. And first of all, these holes, I really like the holes. You can see the offset blades and how they create a bit of rotation in the blades, and it makes those blade holes a bit wider. That's kind of cool. And then it did fairly well, but on the second shot, it lost one of the blades. It just came dislodged from its little housing there. And the other 2 blades got a little bit of edge cheddar on them, and the tip got slightly blunted. So here it is after impacting the concrete. As you can see, it didn't fare so well. The ferrule got pretty bent right there, and then as a result, the blades just became dislodged. Now, it had lost one of them in the steel plate already, but then it lost another one and got pretty bent up on the concrete. So what'd you think? Hey, you know, there's some good strengths to this head. I really like that big, bad chisel tip. Okay, that is a cool looking tip to it. Other than that, it's just a pretty run-of-the-mill standard 3-blade head. You know, it did okay. You know, it did decently, but there's probably a reason that it's not continuing to be made like it was in the beginning. But it is really fun to put some heads like this to the test and see, have we evolved, or, you know, are we just trying to recreate the wheel? And I do think we've evolved in some things since this head first came out. But you check out the score sheet and see how it performed in the areas that matter to you the most. And stay tuned for the overall cumulative score and the corresponding Lusk grade. And also stay tuned for the list of all the discount codes that I can offer. I'm trying to add to that as much as I can to pass on some good savings to you.